Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's start. First of all, I want to thank you, all of you, because all of you, you are beautiful ladies. All of you is very special. Everyone that works in the Chevrah Kadisha actually has a very special neshama. It's a very a special place to be, because it's a place where we feel the difference what is life and what is death. How humble us very, very much, and decrease our ego. That when we are doing this job, we see that we are elevated, and actually each of us, I said all the time, we are human angels. We need human angels down here in order to bring to human angels up there. So everything is a two-side. There is the body and there is the soul. And the soul is eternal. The soul never dies. May change, may reincarnate, may come in another body with another garments and with different ways, but the essence is the same. And actually, from the שער הגלגולים של אריזל, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria, he said that the reincarnation happened usually in the same family, in peoples that already they were in past lives together. So because the reason of the reincarnation is to repair, is a tikkun, is to repair past life, past mistakes. So a neshama that already completes, a neshama that completes her job in this world, they never reincarnate. They stay there and is full there. But to be in this world is something very, very special. Because what we can accomplish here, down here, we cannot accomplish up there. So that's why the souls, they ask Hashem, we want to come down to repair our mistakes. Because here we can create. Up there you cannot create. We can see it in the yeshivot של Moshe Rabbeinu, or yeshivot that depending of your level of consciousness, but there is no any possibility of doing something new. And the body is a tool. By other way, at the same time that the neshama is an energy, the body is another intellectual energy. So even that we don't see this body where we go, we are there at the moment of doing the tahara that doesn't kind of speak, doesn't have a heartbeat, but there is an energy, there is an existence, and the neshama is there, hovering there, very, very much. So we must be very, very careful of our words, our behavior, because that may affect the neshama. And I had experience, for example, I am doing the tahara, I will say, since the inception of this Chevrah Kadisha in 1990. So I am the oldest doing this here. I am the oldest from all of you. And it is an experience, an unbelievable experience. Once I remember that, I don't know if I was very emotional or not, but I heard like a thank you, toda. So there is many things that we see there, and if we are sensitive, we are going to appreciate. For example, after that we finish the backing and the washing in the mikvah, you see that the skin is different. The skin has a light. It's like it recover his previous light and the glow that a normal human skin has. So it is something that is unbelievable. And when we go out and we wash our hands when we finish, it is like we go from one world to the other. So we are in another dimension. So that elevates us very, very much, and that makes us to understand this process of Tahara in a different way. I don't want to go all the practical way because I think that all of you know, unless you have any question that you want me to address. So I would like to answer every question that you may have. When we do, I was learning the 13th principle of mercy, 13 מידות של רחמים. 13 מידות של רחמים is written in Exodus. I don't remember the chapter exactly. I think that was 34, but I am not completely sure. I wrote it down, but I don't have that memory. But is when Moshe Rabbeinu used those 13 principles, it was to repair the sin of the golden calf. So the 13 principles of mercy are hidden in our tefillah in many places. One that is very open is at the time of the vidui. When in the vidui, after the Amida, we say the vidui in Shachrit mostly. And also we have in Mincha. So that you read there the old Ke'el Rahum V'Chanun Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed. So those are 13, and the number 13 coincides also with the 13th principle of Rambam of Maimon, and also there is another 13th principle is Torah Nidreshet im 13 midot. So we learn Torah in 13 different ways. Kal v'chomer is one of them. So that is a way that you see the 13. And you know that I tell you that there is 3 columns, correct? Because we are called Am Zekula. Am Zekula is not that means that we are a people, a chosen people. No, this is not what means Zekula. The one that knows Hebrew knows the vowel that his name is Sagol. The Sagol is 3 points, 2 horizontal and 1 in the middle. What that means that we are the only nation that believe that there is 2 opposite, though 2 sides. Like that's why Bereshit is start with the letter Bet, and Bereshit it means 2. Because there is 2, a dichotomy. But always there is a merging of those 2 sides, the right and the left and the center. So that is a very important part. And that's why we have Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So the side of Chesed is the right side, the side of the left is the side of discipline, and the center is the one that merge all 2. And is the one of Emet. Emet is one of the seal words of Hashem. That's what we say, Emet in Shema Israel, at the end of Shema Israel, and that seal everything. The essence that we have is the union between the world that is the divine world with the world that is the physical world. But Hashem is above that. Hashem is not a spiritual because He created the spiritual. He created the finite. He created the infinite. He is above that. He's His creation. And He gave us, to the Jew right now in this moment, the mission to be like a unifying. Like the letter Aleph. The letter Aleph has 2 yud, right? And a diagonal vav. So it means that is to take from up the divine and bring it down here. So our mission here is very, very special. Is to take a body that has their own intelligence. The body is not something, is very, very holy. As holy that is the neshama. So we must behave towards this body with the same respect and dignity that we may have from the neshama. And only the Jews take care of their ones in a way that is completely different than the other nations. That's why we have the vinegar that we put in under to recognize the Jewish bodies. So the body is very holy, and we treat the body with all the holiness and respect that has merit. So every action that we do, that is 3 steps that we have in the Torah. The first step is coming there, being sure that everything is on place, getting a dress in these clothes that we have, using those, doing netilat yadayim without any bracha. And the reason is very simple, because we don't want, it's not something, it's judgment. So this time of the Taharat Hamet is something that it has a lot of gura, a lot of judgment. It's a moment of distress for that neshama. The neshama suffer because the neshama doesn't want to go out from this world. It's very attached to this garment, to this house that is the body. And many times, depending of the level of consciousness, the Mekubalim says that Hashem has to come to show his countenance, and that in order that the Met will die, because they are fighting and they don't want to go. But there is other type of, depending of their consciousness or the level of holiness, where the neshama separates from the body like you separate something very easy, like completely they can separate it. So the neshama of the tzaddikim, they don't need to completely decompose their body. They says that the tzaddikim stays whole, the bodies, because they are at a level where they infuse their holiness into their own bodies. The others needs to decompose, and the reason of decomposition that is so important for the body is to transform everything and become and elevate themselves. All the 11 months that are the 11 months that we say Kaddish, especially Kaddish for a neshama of a parents, with a brothers we don't wait 11, with a brother we only is 30 days. The same when for a spouse, and even from a child, because those, I don't know exactly what is the reason, but probably with the child is because it's the mother or the father, they suffer a lot. That separation makes them suffer. But the most important is not the suffering of the mourners, is the suffering of this human being that is in front of us, this body that is in front of us. So everything that we say, he listen to that. They said that when a person is at the table of a surgery, surgery salon, I don't know how you say, is a quirófano, is a place of what?
Yeah, the surgery room.
The surgery room, even that they are under anesthesia, they listen everything that is said there. So what does mean? You can give a lot of distress and pain if you use things that may relate to this a body in a different way. So we have it into the contrary to elevate their quality, all these qualities. And when we read, I like very much to read the the brachot that we say. We say Ribono Shel Olam first in order to ask mechila for that neshama, and at that moment, it's very important every word that we pronounce, every Hebrew word, every Hebrew letter is completely different than any Hebrew any letters of any other language. Yes.
Sorry, I have a question there. Does it make a difference if we say it in English versus Hebrew? If there's someone in the room that can say it in Hebrew, we would rather have her to say it instead of me like saying it in English, or it doesn't.
Exactly. If you have a group, and in the group there is one that knows to read Hebrew, she is the one that has to do it. If you don't know Hebrew, any of the four ladies there, it's okay.
I have a question. Do we have any phonetics inside there?
There is no phonetics, but it's only Hebrew and translation in English. And I have to go and read all what we say, but when we remove the clothes, at the spiritual level means we are removing all the mistakes, all the things that were wrong for that person. All in Hebrew they use the word that is solet. You know better.
Soled?
Yes, something that is.
You don't like it. Some word that you don't like. Soled.
I don't know if that is the answer.
No,
Probably,
it's
but
okay.
is those clothes are means not that they are dirty, means that we in life we have a group of mitzvot, and we do something that mistakes that we do. So we want Hashem is going to dress us in mitzvot. There is one story that I like it very, very much about a couple that they were very close, husband and wife, and she had the dream that something was, and in her dream that her husband, the garment of his husband was not complete, and she was suffering and was giving her garments to him. So the garments are we dress her back in garments of mitzvot, okay? Garments of kindness, garments of love, garments that will make these neshama elevate themselves. The reason of the Kaddish is so crucial. It's so important to say Kaddish because and the Kaddish doesn't speak anything about the deceased, and only is speak about Shem Rabba, Shmei Rabba, and the Sephardim use Shem Shin Mem Yud Hey. The Ashkenaz, they don't use the Yud, they don't put the Yud. So here, what is the Shem? The Shem is the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So Yud Kei Vav Kei is the name of God that is the channel of all the energy, and you find it in all the 10 Sfirot. This is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. The holy Rashav, Rabbi Shalom Sharabi, that was probably 2 or 3 centuries ago, was alive. He wrote. He was a very big Kabbalist, and he said that every one of those, he put in every of those Sfirot the Yud Kei Vav Kei with changing the vowels. For example, at the level of Keter is Kamatz, at the level is Patach, at the level of Chochma, Bina is Serek. So all that is in order to bring down the light of Hashem. What means these Sfirot? The Sfirot are bodies of energy, and we do that when we dress this body. We make a crown, correct? And we put we take and we put the sheen. The sheen is represent two things in my opinion. One is 3 branches. The 3 branches are the 3 kavim. Again, everything is 3. The 9 kavim that we do sometimes is also a multiple of 3. So that is the idea of the 3. And we tied it at the front head. And the tie at the front head is to imitate the Cs. Cs is an ornament that the Kohen Gadol has made with gold, and that our garment has the name Yud K Vav K there. So we ourselves represent the 10 Sfirot. My head represent the crown or Keter, Chochmah, and Binah. And then I have the parts that represent the Chesed, the Gevurah, the Tiferet, that is this part of the body, and then the 2 legs that are Netzach and Od. The Yesod is the reproductory organs, and then we have Malchut, that is the recipient. When we put the sand, we put the sand in the eyes, means this is the place of Chochmah. There is we are putting the eyes. We have the crown, that is the crown that we sovev, and we put the 3 loops that we make there. We put sand in the hands, the left first and then the right. And the reason is because the left side is close to the heart. So, and then that will represent the Chesed and Gvura. Then we have Yesod, that is the sand that we put at the intimate part of the reproductory organs. So, and what is the meaning of this sand? The meaning of the sand is we are made from Adamah. The word Adam, correct, or Adamah has many, we have many definition of the Adamah. Adamah is Dome, means is the image, because we were created in the image and tzura and shape of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So a body, this body that we are working with it, is a representation of the body of the cosmos. In the cosmos, that is the Adam HaKadmon, that is, there is also, I don't know if I am talking too much, or is too, but I want so much that you get the emotion that I have, the passion that I need to drink, the passion that I have. Yes. Okay. So, and what is in the cosmos? In the cosmos, there is the surah, or the shape of us, of Adam, means, and this is made with the planets. We have 7 planets of our solar system, okay? And they represent Chesed, Gevurah. Chesed, for example, is Jupiter. Gevurah is Mars. Tiferet is the sun. Yesod is the moon. So, and Netzach is Noga, is the planet Noga, that is very bright and glowing. And Hod is Mercury. So you see here that there is connotation in everything. This is what the Kabbalah teaches us. So it's a very special thing to be here. Very, very special. And I would like to sit down with you and to learn together And I was trying to find something more more meaningful or more mystical about, and I didn't find beside what we are already doing and we already know. But another point that is important to I want to give you that message is in the I was saying about Adam, because she left, I lost my train of thought. So Adam is also has the dam, is Aleph and Dalet Mem, correct? So dam is blood. Why is so important to
Keep the
be
blood.
so careful about the blood? Because the blood is the interface, is the memutze in Hebrew. The memutze is the interface between the body and the soul. Beside the nefesh, because we have 5 levels of the neshama. So we are in contact with 3 only: nefesh, ruach, and neshama. So nefesh is what gives life to every part of our body. So is the lowest, is what is giving us the life force. Okay? The ruach is another intermediary between the neshama, that is a higher level, with the nefesh. Ruach is also, ruach in Hebrew means wind, is the place, wind is blew the wind, okay?
Yeah.
And is the place of the emotions. So the nefesh is very in the fact action. The ruach is the emotion. The neshama is the intellect. So, and then comes the higher level of complete energy, that is the level of Atzilut. So, I would like, if you have any question to, I don't, are
so
you
much that you have.
You don't know
in a
which one to
nutshell and
connect.
put it inside everybody's brain, heart, and body. You can
Yeah.
totally see that.
It's
And I wish it
beautiful.
was possible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very spiritual, very important things.
this is really very spiritual, yes. And the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, he at very tender age, I don't know how old he was, probably he was a teenager, he was part of the Chevrah Kadisha. So, because he understood, of course he understood, the spiritual levels of being there. So, when you are there, have a time, like a few seconds, only to absorb the enormous energy that is there. Because the neshama is there, is in front of us. We don't see it clearly, but it is completely there. It's the moment that the neshama is closer to the body, because there is the time before the burial, and the Hashem cannot take action and use the neshama for another body until it is buried. So that is the importance, the immediate importance of doing Tara as soon as possible and burying the body as soon as possible, because the body suffer very, very much and need that time. It cannot depart the neshama, even that can be there, but cannot feel a separation from this body. The word death is separation, and there is death in many things that we do. Is decomposition, is separation. When we are alive, there is connection. So the mission that we have is always connect. The connection between husband and wife is the connection between Akadosh Baruch Hu and the world where we live. In order to receive blessing, we must have a connection, because there is a separation between this world and the spiritual world. And only through a connection, we have Shema Israel. We say Shema Israel, and then we say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchutot L'Olam Va'ed. So the Shema Israel is the higher level, then Baruch Shem Kevod Malchutot L'Olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod is in base of the first Hey of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the names of Leah. Leah, our matriarch, she was at the level of Bina. Rachel is in this world. Rachel is the vessel. Rachel is the Shechina. So Rachel is Baruch Shem Kevot Malchutot Leolam Va'ed. So when we say Leolam Va'ed, we are connecting to it, Rachel. So that is the union that we make. I am going to decide, because is to give you a more understanding of everything that we do. Besides, what we read mostly is made from the Shir Ashirim. When they say Shokaf veRosho Ketem Kebutzotav Taltalim Shchorot, or something like, oh no, Enaim Taltalim Shchorot, all these are the metaphors of Shir Ashirim of Shlomo HaMelech. So Shir Ashirim is a beautiful hymn that has 8 chapters, but it's a hymn, it's a poetry, it's a poem. And it's a poem that brings out the relation between Israel, that is the bride, and Akadosh Baruch Hu, that is the groom. And Hashem, Israel suffer because it's separated from Hashem, because we are in exile, we are in Galut. So this body that we are treating is a body that is a body in Galut. So the Rachamim that we have to say, those 13 principles of mercy, when we are tightening the belt. So when tight the belt, we go around 30 times. 30 times is in remembering us about the 13 midot of Rachamim. And we want to give those Rachamim to this body that is in a very difficult moment of their existence. They are in a transition. They don't know where they are going, and they need a help. So this is the help that we bring to this neshama, the help to elevate that neshama in their departure from this world for a physical world. And many times those people, they don't know almost nothing about Yiddishkeit. So their consciousness is different. But probably I am wrong, because there is a malach that when a baby is in the womb, the malach says, the malach comes, and when the baby is born, he closes the baby mouth, and the babies will forget the whole Torah that he learned during the time that it was in a pregnancy, it was in the mother's womb. So everything is so really so beautiful. So when we put all those links together and we make that and we associate that, we take a journey to another world, to another way. We see the world in another dimension, and that is what gives us an ascension and a growing of us, each of us, spiritually. So I want to conclude. I hope that you will read what I send you. I wrote a little more, but this is something that you can do by yourself. What I can bring you today is my emotion. What I bring you today is my passion. And this is an energy that I cannot write it down in a piece of paper. Only is by my movement, my way of seeing you, my tone of my voice. Those are things that cannot be written in a piece of paper. So I would like to hear from you if you have any questions, any ideas, any comments, any desire to continue and see we can learn something together. And for example, learning the 13 attributes of mercy is another world. The Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, he wrote a book that is Tomer Devora, the Palms of Devorah, where he explains the 13 midot of Rachamin. And actually we find them in our Siddur in the second part of the Akedat Yitzchak. You have a first Akedat Yitzchak and second Akedat Yitzchak. In the second one, almost at the end, is written Mi Kamocha, Hashem, who is so big as you. So there is nothing in this world. There is no reality. Everything is Hashem. Even in this piece of tablecloth that is white here in front of me, there is an energy. And that is the energy that comes from the divine. And we are very, very special. We are very, I would say, I am very proud to be born a Jew. I am very proud that we are together. I am very proud that we have this Chevrah Kadisha, and this Chevrah Kadisha must be a way of union, of friendship, of fraternity, of being together, because there is so many things that we have in common, and we don't have the opportunity to be in touch with each other. Because if you do this, it's because you are very kind. If you will not come, leave your husband or leave your children and come and wash a body. So that means that is innate in you, your kindness and your love for Hashem. So what can be more than that? So we like that this Chevrah Kadisha will be a way of union and fraternity. That is what is important. Well, that we become sisters. No friends, sisters. More than that. It's an affiliation that makes us to be connected. And if someone needs help, we all together, we need to be there to assist each of us. And pay attention when we find sometimes very difficult cases, very difficult, where we cannot contain the blood. And I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to tell you to do. But an angel comes and make me make a decision. This is not my decision. It's not my words. I am only a channel from Hashem. That is what I said. We are malach. And when you are doing in your time, you are doing a tahara, is an extra wisdom that comes from above towards you that give you the solution in every aspect that you are doing. And all of you are so kind. Holly is so delicate, always taking care that everything is done in the right way. All of you, you are all beautiful. The young one, you are one of the youngest, I think. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you in your growing as yourself. You have a long journey ahead. So in this journey, you bring back to your husband or to your family or to your children the emotion that you are receiving here.
Yes, it is like that. For me, I started this year. I've been out for 8 weeks because I fractured my shoulder and my arm. But I'm from Venezuela, and my mom passed away several years ago. And I remember I was like 24 when my mom passed, or 25. And I don't know why, because I have just flashbacks from those moments. But in Venezuela, when after they did the tahara, they asked the children to recognize the body before they don't do that here, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. So for me, I'm a Cohen, and I know that doesn't apply for women, but in the traditions of my family, like my dad never let us go to the cemetery. Like he always put us away of death, and so for me, the first time I dealt with death and a cemetery and all of this was with my mom. So it was very shocking, and I was very out of my head in that moment. And I remember, and it was it was a lot of shock. And I remember when I entered the place, the Chevra, it was two of my mom's best friends that were doing the tahara for her. And like for me, it was like, wow, when I saw them, I didn't even knew about, because I'm not that religious and I wasn't that connected with God in that time. It was very shocking. Like I felt like, okay, I know that they took good care of her because they're their best friends from life. And then after last year, I went to a trip that it's called Momentum, that it's for Jewish mothers. Because I was thinking a lot about my Judaism, and like I moved here and my kids go to public school. I went always to Jewish school, so everything I have it because I went there. And I was like, wow, I'm not religious, like my kids are going to public school. I need to think ahead of what's gonna happen if I don't like implement some things in my house, but maybe I don't have the knowledge. I need to connect. And I went to this trip, and everything changed for me because I was taught in school like laws, and you have to do this and that, and it's just like that, and there's no questions about it. Like in this trip, you start to understand the horror, because that's why I love to come into classes like this, because you start to analyze and understand. And I understood that we're living such a selfish lives these days, and I was trying to understand that selfishness. Like my grandparents came from Auschwitz, and they founded the Jewish community in Venezuela, and you saw how they always thought about community first and then the rest. Like they didn't even thought about their family first. It was what's best for the community and then what's best for my family, and we're losing that. And I act like that. If there's a hurricane, I'm like, what do I need for my kids, my family to be safe? And then, okay, how can I help the ones that are like, but it's always like us, my family, my kids, and it can't be like that, because if we stay like that. So I was trying to see like, what can I do? I work full time and my office is down in the south, and I have the kids, and I'm like always trying to say like, I want to do something for the community. I want to like, give more. What can I do? And that's when like, for some reason I saw someone from the Chevra, and I was like, okay, like, this is something I can do, and I can like, it's completely selfish, and I can start like work with, and it happened to me. Like my first time was very difficult because it was someone from an accident, so she was bleeding a lot, and it was like completely shocking because it was my completely first time. And I saw that, like I started to understand like, doesn't matter. Like we think about so many things, like Botox and blah blah. Blah. It's like we're all gonna end here, and this has bring me also to a path of understanding like longevity and what's best, like to live our best life and not to look the best or to it's like more of what can we do to be our best in our body, our shape, our mind, our spirituality. And it's been like that every time I come. It's like a very deep connection and understanding like the holiness of the whole thing. Like, so for me it's an exercise. It ended up being selfish because for me it's an exercise, it's a therapy, like to ground and to think what's important, what's not, to start re-questioning everything that I'm doing daily and balancing the.
Beautiful. I wish you and I bless you that you will have a wonderful life and continue being so calm and spontaneous. That is so nice because that is so beautiful. It's not a question of knowing, of having knowledge and wisdom. Is the way you connect, and this is beautiful. This is very nice. Thank you for your words. Yes, this is it. Do you have any other things to say?
I have a question.
Yes.
When I do taharas with you, you say other than what we say, the prayer that's listed there, you say something else. It's so beautiful. What are you saying?
I say the
When we
Psalm
when we are dressing.
23rd. I said the Psalm 23rd. The Psalm 23rd is Mizmor David Adonai Ro'i Lo Echzar V'no Teshe Yarbitzeni. It's a beautiful psalm that we say, Chabad say in the Siddur in Shabbat before we say Kiddush. We say also in Shachrit, in night of Shabbat, and Minchat also. You say always, and before eating. So, what is this psalm? This psalm has 57 words. 57 has the numerical value of Zan. Correct? Zan, Nun is 50, and Zain is 7. So it's 57 words. Zan in Hebrew means mazon. The word mazon, that is food, nurturing, is zan. So when I learned that from another member of the Chevrah Kadisha in Venezuela. So he taught me that to say this psalm during the Tahara. Why? Because it has a much sense. You want to say nurturing, protection to this neshama. Besides what is written there, Im elech begei zalmavet lo irarak yadai imati. So even that if I go in places where is darkness, I know that Hashem is with me. And even the words of the Psalm 23rd is, and at the end, I will be nurtured and I will be sitting at the table where Hashem is. So that is a beautiful psalm and has a lot to do with the moment that we do in the Tahara. So I know by heart, and this is the way, this is the reason that I use it. It's not a rule, it's not written, it's not a custom, it's simply a beautiful psalm that I like. And usually when we do Tahara, it's good to say psalm. If a person, for example, is their first time, they may say psalms in order to elevate this soul, because the psalm has a extraordinary power. Correct? In many ways, they say that even can help in the recovery of a person that is sick. That's why we connect together and send the whole 5 books of the Psalms together when a person is in need. Right? So That is the answer. That is the answer. You don't have any question?
No, I don't have a question. First I want to tell you thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
actually putting it together. I know that I came and I asked you because
Of you, I
I
did.
started just this year and I always heard your name and like she does like that. She knows the answer for that. You know, when I started we weren't, and then one time I worked with you and you don't say Shifcho shel Adam befanav, but I looked at you and you were like glowing, like the way that you were doing it, and it made me feel so good, like that I really, really want to grow and be like you, either way. And
Yes.
I think if we can learn from me, personal learn is from you. I got to the Torah, I don't think anybody that know me would believe that I do that. Like, I'm fragile, it's not for me, but it's been in the back of my hand many, many years. And I couldn't bring it to action, but this year, like on Yom Kippur, I decided I want to do more chesed. That what this was in the back of my mind. And as I was talking to my friend, she said, "Oh, I'm part of Chevrah Kadisha, and why don't you come?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I remember the first time I came, it was really, really kind of hard. It was hard before I got in, you know what I mean? But once I got to the room, it was like, I don't know, I felt pretty comfortable. I was a little nervous, but I was surprised for myself. And it's really funny because now you were talking about the spiritual side, you know, about the Sfirot, and I've been learning like Rabbi Nachman and all this, like, you know, all this Torah that you were talking about now, but I've never connected it to Tahara actually. And this year really closed for me, it kind of circle, like, I guess everything that I learned was the purpose for me to actually get here and to do that. And it's like, it felt good. Like sometimes everyone have to find his things, his chesed, his something in that you attract and you enjoy to do it, and you feel like very grateful that Hashem give you this zchut to do this. And that's what I feel, and I know most of the girls here. And thank you for being part of it. It's really amazing.
Yes. Any other things to say?
I want to tell you that every single time that you are part of the group, I learn a drop of wisdom, and I'm
Thank
so
you. I
grateful.
feel so.
I'm so grateful to you. You have no idea the way you share all the information, you know. And like her, I hope one day I'll
You
be able to be like you.
you are like me. I am not nothing special.
And another thing is, like, I'm so grateful because sometimes I go to Ohio, they never called me. I think it's a feeling I have that some Taharas are very restrict. You accepted me knowing nothing. Like, you know, so I feel like when you said that I'm giving Hesed, I feel like so honored that you took me, like, I didn't know anything. I still don't know much, but I mean, I have my two hands and I want to learn. But other Taharas, not necessarily. They have like levels of religiousness. There's so much, it's not easy. It's like you're getting a job and they're making sure that you are good for that job. So I'm so appreciative of this because I was denied access to others. And here, you know, you are always asking for help, and you're not gonna ever deny me, darling. You're not good enough for this. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia. Okay. Holly?
I've been doing this for about 27 years.
Yes, I remember you when we have in Aventura
Right. we
by
used to
Rabbi
have
Bruce
it.
Owanke, or
Right.
Shul.
Right, and the way I got into this is actually, we were living in Aventura. My husband and I called the Riverside to ask about pre-planning for my mother-in-law, and Rabbi Miller called me and said, would you like to try to do a tahara? And I honestly, I said, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know about it. I'm about to shoot. I had to learn that. So he told me about it. He said, would you like to come and try? And I went there and they showed me, and I was very comfortable with it. So I started doing it back then. My son was a little baby and I was home, I wasn't working, but you know, even when I went back to work, I started doing it. And I learned so much from everybody, and I still have questions. When we're there, sometimes I have questions, so I'm glad when you're there, I can always ask you, questions and things like
No,
that. I mean, we all, 'cause
think
you're-
about those questions and
Yeah.
let's put it.
Holly, you feel the same when you're there.
Oh. I sometimes wonder how I can get other people to come. I mean, I don't come as often because I don't know why I tend to not be available so much, but I try to come, but I wanna try to get younger people involved, but I never know, like when I ask people, they say, oh, I can't do that, that's not for me, but I don't know, how do people come to do this? They just kind of know someone.
I'm trying to scout.
Right, I wanna ask people.
But yeah, for most of the people, like the reactions I get is like, no, my kids are too young. Even for my husband, when I first told him like, I'm gonna do this, he was super reactive, like, are you insane? There's no way you're gonna do that. You're not gonna bring that energy to my home. And I'm like, which energy? It's like a great energy.
Positive energy.
It's like,
Right.
you have to see it the way it is. It's like,
Right.
it's not dead. If any energy I'm bringing back is the energy of like, I did something good for that person. It's like, what kind of energy are you talking about? So I try to tell the people like, I'm doing it and I'm okay with it. I have 2 little kids at home and they don't know about it. It's like, no, I'm gonna do a class or I'm gonna do a mitzvah or whatever they can see, because they have to see, they have to look up to what you're doing, but they don't know. So I had one new recruit and she just got pregnant, so.
I started also a very long time ago when I was really young, and then I stopped for a while. I was like very young. It was a group with Berman.
With Sarah.
It was Sarah Berman, she used to do it, and then it was like some girls, like we were all the same age, we used to do it, and then I stopped when I got married.
Honey Kramer was doing it.
Honey
at that time.
Kramer and Chevrah Stein did it with us. And my daughters just started doing it.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Amazing.
So, Bezrat Hashem, one day your kids will follow in your footsteps.
Yes, Miriam.
So I would like change a little because we're just talking more the spiritual, but I remember I was in my father's show and this one woman said to me that her husband, when he passed away, they cremated him, and she goes, he worked in a funeral place and he knows about all those bugs that go on the body, and he did not want that happening. So the whole idea of people that physically now, if we see a bug, we're like, but so the idea of in the ground, the bugs, what happens? Like, is the person really happy that there's bugs there? Because in our physical world, we're not comfortable with bugs. So I didn't know how to answer her. I just felt terrible. I was young when she said that.
But did you see any bugs when we work? No.
No, when
They
we were
go
No.
in the
Under the
ground.
ground.
let's
the
say
ground.
somebody says, oh, I decided to cremate myself. And then how do you tell them the bugs are not the same thing like it is to us in this world?
Here, I give you the answer telling you that the body has its own intelligence. The body it is alive, even and always. That's why we believe in the resurrection of the dead, because something of the bones start there, and this is a vision of Ezekiel, that he is going to see the bones, and then comes the and the meat or the muscles, and this is the resurrection of the dead that we believe b'emunah shelema. In this is Rambam, one of the principles, the 13 principles of Rambam. The problem is that the people, they don't understand the holiness of a body. Because they don't understand the holiness of the body, they are going to burn this body. And this is something terrible because this body is not going to resurrect because it's burnt. So they are destroying the loose bone. The loose bone is a bone that never putrefied and never disappear. And this is like from that bone, all the rest of the body is going to resurrect. So there is nothing worse than doing that. Also, to embalm body is also neged achok, is against the Torah. We don't do anything like that.
Like the Egyptians.
You know, when they embalm a
Yes, I know
body,
you-
is completely dry.
I know we don't do it, but as a child, I didn't know how to answer that lady. How would you answer that lady when it says, because she's still alive, she might want what I don't know what she would want for herself. How would you be able to explain that the bugs are not that bad, or
But what do you mean with the bugs? I don't know.
You would think it's
When
when
the
the
body-
worm-
when the
when the
body-
bugs
Ah,
disappear.
the one that is composed.
Yes.
Ah,
When
okay.
you decompose, the bugs go
Okay,
your body
it's very
decomposes
important the
itself.
decomposition of the body.
right? So
This is good because that release the energies. Is a klal. It's very important. That's why they drill those holes because in Israel they don't have a casket. They put directly on the
They
ground.
say that it's an issue in case there is a disease that can spread to the
Is
ground.
But that
That's the
about
reason of the
infection, but those worms are not disease contagious. It's something completely different. Hashem created the world in a way that the world also can be decomposed as it is. For example, see a tree. When a tree dies, comes the mushrooms or
Termites, whatever. to
no,
decompose.
but mostly is the mushroom kingdom. That is the one that their function is to bore and to eliminate and clean. They clean everything that is in the world. And the ifas, they are always be under the ground. So it is part of the process that Hashem created the world. The body needs to liberate, to release that energy. So the neshama ends, you elevate the neshama by the decomposition of the body. Their false understanding or the false paradigm that this lady has is thinking that she is going down. It's not. We elevate because you release energy. You release, what is the energy? We release the attachment of the soul to this physical world.
I have an example that maybe will help you out. You live 40 years in a house. You go away, you move. Do you burn the house? How can you say about your body? 70
This
years,
is not
80
a question.
years.
I don't think this is a hard question. The point is the question like how you let your body go on the ground and bugs eat you out.
Well,
And
it's
people
the
here,
circle of
it's in
life.
this word, we don't like bugs. And you know, God created, if a body is so holy, why bug eat you? This is what
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
that's
from her.
fine. I
Yeah, this is
understand.
what I said. This
But
is how the way she thought.
Yes,
Like,
but
if
the thing
God
is
created
that-
the body, why the bug need to eat it? If it, in the future, it need to recreate.
I understand, but the solution is not a good one. Think about 40 years, you leave the house burns. You're
I
feeling
agree
good.
with you. I agree with you 100%.
But I understand, but if she had a better solution than the bugs, then I would say,
Would you
okay.
rather
but you
flames
said-
eat, flames
You
eat
know
your body
everything
and
that
make
you know
see,
everything
like
the ruled in the
ashes?
Torah
You
that
wouldn't
we
want
have.
that.
It's written
That's more
like many years. So this is what the people got conflict in now.
Like the reforms now, they have cremation. I just went to a burial and there is a space. I was shocked. is this
They
Jewish?
advertise in
Yes.
Jewish newspaper, Jewish cremation place,
And,
or whatever.
and the problem is that
terrible.
parents are saying to the kids, oh, it's cheaper,
Yeah,
it's
but- yeah.
better, it's
But they don't
easier."
know, this is the point, now
Oh,
she
yes.
explained us
They
again,
don't-
exactly.
they don't
It's
have
But
it.
this
important
is
it is.
ignorance.
Is
That's
Tara
ignorance.
reading in the
That's
Torah?
educate people.
Mom?
Is Tara reading in the Torah?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes,
every
of
rule
course.
there.
Of
Oh,
course, even some of the aspect that we do, what happened in the Torah that things are not revealed clearly. The Torah is a code. Everything is codified. So through the sages or the commentaries of the sages, they explain so many things. For example, we are now in the parsha of Be'alotecha, as that speak about the menorah. And the menorah was made as a one chunk of gold. So, and Moshe Rabbeinu, he said, how I am going to create a menorah of this piece of gold. And so Hashem shows a vision and then created. And what is the reason of that? That Am Israel is Am Echad. We are part of a unity. Those branches that are the 7 branches of the menorah are the 7 types of characters. And comes from the Sefirot. It's Chesed, Geburah, Tiferet, Netzach, Od, Yesod, and Malchut. Those are the 7. There is 7 days of the week. So who made those 7 days? The Torah. It's not the Goy.
They tried to change it though, you know, that they tried to make a 5-day week. There was a movement,
probably.
and then the Esperanto, they tried to make a man-made language. It doesn't work. They always keep trying, and
one
everybody
never
follows
works.
the 7 days.
No,
It's amazing, just amazing.
Okay. As I said, my proposition to you is we can learn something more. Like I said, the 13 principle of mercy, and to learn that with the depth and profundity, or I don't know how to say, of what?
Proficiency?
No, proficiency is not the word.
I have to use the phone.
Yes,
I'm gonna cut
you can close it
okay, thank you.
because.
What did you send us something? Where did you
I
send
know,
it?
I